Welcome back to the deep dive. So, if you thought the flight from Emmons Field was terrifying, you should probably buckle up.
Oh, yeah.
We are now officially leaving, the sleepy village life behind. We're plunging into a landscape that is just utterly consumed by ancient fear and corruption.
We've absolutely crossed the threshold. There's no going back. These 3 chapters, 18, 19, and 20, this is where the whole story just pivots. It goes from a local tragedy to something cosmic.
Exactly. And the choices made here, under this insane pressure, they feel so final.
They are irrevocable. They set our young heroes on these completely different paths that are going to pest their souls and, well, in one case, literally infect their mind.
Okay, so that's our mission today. We are going deep into this turning point.
Yeah.
We really need to understand the sheer horrific necessity of their flight. And then there's the lore, the chilling, detailed lore behind this ruined city, Shadar Logoth.
And the consequences. We can't forget the shocking physical and spiritual consequences that are just, dumped right onto these kids from the 2 rivers. I think the key thing for you to grasp here is the complexity of the danger. It's not just one big bad guy anymore. The story introduces this new separate layer of evil, one that operates completely outside the Dark One's influence.
So if you thought the enemy was just this one single thing,
prepare for a real aha moment. This is about what true destruction looks like, and maybe more frighteningly, how human actions can create a poison that even the shadow is afraid of.
Wow. Okay, so our source material for this is exclusively the desperate race against the Trollocs, the entry into that forbidden city, and then of course the chaotic separation of the group.
A total disaster.
Let's not wait. Let's get right into the immediate peril of chapter 18.
Peril is, maybe putting it mildly. When we last left them, they were exhausted on horseback, and Tam Althor was badly injured.
And we have to stress, this wasn't just some bandit raid.
No, not at all. This was a military operation designed for one thing: annihilation.
The source material is so clear on this.
Yeah.
Lan, the warder, he has to abandon all his usual stealth just to track the sheer number of them.
He reports tracking about 500 Trollocs. A horde.
500.
And his grim assessment is that they are closing the gap so fast that the party will be overtaken, ridden down in an hour. Maybe less.
It's important to remember that visual, right? What Rand and the others saw.
Oh, yes. The line of creatures stretched so far in both directions that they couldn't even see the ends of it.
So they're facing an enemy that's not just numerous, but vast, relentless, and completely dedicated to killing them.
There's no fighting that. You can only run or you die.
And this threat, it forces Moiraine's hand. She has to use the one power in this desperate last-ditch effort to buy them a few minutes. So let's talk about the cost of that. Was a wall of fire really the only option? Or was she, making a statement?
I think the necessity was absolute, but the choice of what she did, that was strategic. They had nowhere else to run but into the wild, and the shadow was right on their heels.
But she doesn't just block the path.
No, she manifests a physical, literal wall of flame. The text says the flames roared, they spanned the entire path. It was a barrier that looked like it would burn forever.
A spectacle, designed to terrify.
And to physically stop a cavalry charge, basically. But the cost was immediate.
The source material is very explicit about the strain this puts on her, isn't it?
Deeply visible. She's swaying in her saddle right after. She talks about the massive draining effort it took. To use that much of the power under that kind of pressure, it's incredibly taxing and dangerous.
It's a signal, then.
It's a signal that survival now requires the extraordinary. The stakes are absolute. It wasn't about efficiency. It was about achieving one single goal. Just a few more minutes of delay.
And right before she does that, she uses history, like a weapon, or maybe armor. She tells them the story of Mantherin. Why that story at that exact moment?
It's a brilliant piece of, psychological warfare on their behalf, and spiritual grounding. She's reminding them of the ancient alliance between Mantherin and Aridhol, the very city they're about to run into. She tells them the history of the Red Eagle banner, a kingdom that was a thorn to the Dark One's foot.
So she's basically saying, this fight is in your blood. You come from giants.
Precisely. She details how the Trolloc Wars tore the world apart, and how Manetheren stood against it all, fighting Dreadlords and Trollocs in tens of thousands.
And they never broke?
Never. Even when surrounded by mounds of their own dead, she says, the sword that could not be broken was shattered. By giving them this ancestral link, this heritage, she's trying to give them a history of impossible resistance.
A tool to steel their resolve.
Exactly. To remind them that while they have to run now, Their ancestors only knew defiance.
Powerful. She uses fire to stop the enemy, and history to strengthen her allies. But that fire doesn't last. The pursuit is just diverted, forcing them into a refuge that turns out to be so much worse than the enemy behind them.
Shadar Logoth.
This feels less like a choice and more like fate, pushing them into the dark.
This city, Aridhol, now called Shadar Logoth, Shaddar's Waiting. It's probably the most significant single place they visit on this whole early journey.
The description is just chilling.
It's monumental, a huge walled city, but it's completely ruined, utterly silent, and avoided by everyone. The very land around it feels sick.
The atmosphere itself is a character. Rand says the air is thick, dead. The silence is oppressive. What are the first visual cues that tell you this place is just wrong?
It's the little details, the physical decay. The streets are paved with cracked tiles, but they're eerily clean.
Clean? Why?
Because nothing lives there to track mud in. There's no wind, no birdsong, just this suffocating quiet. The buildings look solid, but you get the sense they're rotting from the inside. Even the shadows feel heavier.
And Lan's reaction is the biggest tell.
Oh, absolutely. Lan, who faces down, fades without blinking. He is wary here. He's almost afraid. He warns them, don't touch anything, don't take anything, and whatever you do, don't stay until nightfall.
When Lan is scared, you know it's bad.
Okay, so let's get into the lore. The fall of Aridhol. It wasn't an external siege, it was an internal collapse. What happened there?
It's a terrifying demonstration of what happens when suspicion itself becomes a poison. The king, Balwin Mournblade, he became obsessed with the idea that Dark Friend's traitors were hiding among his own people.
So the fear of infiltration, the fear of being contaminated from within.
It consumed him. Moraine says the suspicion grew like a canker. He started executing anyone he suspected, then he executed anyone who didn't report a suspicion, then anyone who looked unhappy about all the executions.
It's a self-perpetuating cycle of paranoia.
A lethal one. They were so determined to purify their city of the Shadow's influence that they ended up creating their own unique, devastating evil. One far worse than what they were fighting. They literally destroyed themselves in the name of purity. So this is a crucial point. The destruction of Aridhol wasn't caused by the Dark One. It was an unintended consequence of human fear. Is this Moraine saying the Age of Legends ended not just because of the Shadow, but because of humanity's own flaws?
That is precisely the terrifying implication. And what's fascinating is how that fear and hate transformed. It generated an evil that is distinct from the Dark One, a palpable spiritual darkness that is opposed to everything, including the Shadow's own forces.
Self-generated human malice turned into a physical thing.
The ultimate lesson. When you fight monsters, you have to be so careful you don't create an even greater monster from your own zealotry.
So, if suspicion and hate are the spiritual disease, what does it look like in physical form? We get introduced to Mashadar.
Mashadar is the physical manifestation of that city's soul sickness. It's described as waving gray tentacles of fog and shadow, but it's not just fog. It has a malignant intelligence. It hates all living things.
And it consumes everything.
Everything it touches. Metal, stone, flesh, even light. It's cold, suffocating, and it carries the weight of 1,000 years of pure, focused malice.
Which leads to this incredible moment of lore. The collision of evils. Mashadar actively fights the Trollocs in the Mordeth. Evil fighting evil.
This is the moment the boys really see how complex the world is. As they're running, they see the fog strike the Trollocs chasing them, and it just consumes them instantly.
The description is horrible.
Heads go back to scream, but the fog rolls over their mouths, eating the howls. It's just visceral, silent consumption.
But the real proof is the confrontation with the Fade, the Mordeth.
Right, because the shade is the purest expression of the Dark One's will. And the text describes these leg-thick tentacles of Mashadar whipping around the Mordeth and its horse.
And the Fade shrieked.
It shrieked, a piercing whine, just beyond hearing the sound of pure terror. That creature, which is the embodiment of cold, fearless evil, was terrified of Mashadar.
That shriek is everything. It proves that these two evils are mutually destructive. The Shadow fears Mashadar almost as much as it fears the light.
So strategically, for Moraine, this makes Shadar Logoth both a perfect sanctuary and a perfect death trap.
She used it as a funnel.
Exactly, knowing the Trollocs would either be stopped or consumed. But she miscalculated. She misjudged the speed of the pursuit and the psychological risk to the kids. She saved them from the Trollocs, but she exposed them to something far more insidious.
And that leads directly to betrayal. The fragmentation of the group starts with this character, Mordeth.
Mordeth is a master manipulator. He doesn't appear like a monster. He shows up as this helpful, frail old guide,
And he plays right into their desperation, and specifically into Matt's greed.
luring them with the promise of treasure. He says he'll guide them out, but his real goal is to use them. Matt's desire for gold, a very human flaw, is what springs the trap.
And Mordeth leads them to this treasure room.
A shadowy hall filled with dusty heaps of gold and gems. But just as Mashadar starts closing in, Mordeth shows his true nature. Rand sees him just vanish. He stretches out and thins like a tendril of smoke and disappears into a crack in the wall.
And his last words are just chilling.
A fading maniacal scream, "You are all dead."
And in that chaos, Matt Cawthon makes the single worst decision of his life so far.
The ruby-hilted dagger.
He can't resist it, he just snatches it.
And in doing so, he has brought the ruin out of the ruin. Moraine confirms it later. That dagger is contaminated with the city's unique evil. By taking it outside the walls, Matt is now physically and spiritually infected by Shadar Logoth's power.
Okay, let's break down this infection. It's not a wound, it's a toxin for the soul. How does it work? Does it hurt him?
It's the spiritual disease of Aridhol concentrated into one object. It's a toxin of suspicion and hatred that gets into your very bones.
And it consumes your empathy.
Your trust, your empathy, everything. At first, he just feels cold, sick, and fiercely possessive of the dagger. But Moiraine warns that it gets worse, and gets worse fast. It leads to one single thought: killing the people closest to you.
That's horrific. The very evil he's carrying is designed to make him destroy anyone trying to help him.
It creates a perfect trap. How can he trust Moiraine to cure him when the dagger itself is whispering in his soul, "Don't trust anyone"?
He becomes his own worst enemy.
It's a psychological breakdown disguised as a magical curse. It corrupts you from the inside out.
So that terrifying encounter, the attack by Mashadar, it just shatters the group. They scatter in a panic, and suddenly the party is split into 3 vulnerable pieces.
It's a complete disaster for Moraine's plan.
We have Rand, Matt, and Tom on one path,
Yeah.
Perrin and Egwene on another, and Moraine, Lanous, and a surprise guest.
Yeah, no. But first, Rand and Matt. They manage to get passage on a riverboat. Captain Doman's the Spray. They're hoping the river will give them some speed.
And this is where we see Tom Merrilin make his stand. It feels like a final, heroic sacrifice.
It is heroic and absolutely decisive. The Murdroll tracks them right to the dock. The shadow moves so fast and Tom just steps forward. He fights the Fade to give the boys time to get on the ship.
The last thing Rand sees is just flashes of his knives.
Moonlight flashing off the blades. He faces that creature completely alone. His fate is left unknown, but his sacrifice is everything in that moment.
And losing Tom is huge. He was their one connection to the real world outside the 2 rivers, the only experienced adult who wasn't an Aes Sedai or a warder.
Now the boys are completely isolated, and one of them is carrying a spiritual time bomb.
Even on the water, the danger just follows them. Captain Doman's reaction is so telling.
He is completely bewildered.
He's a man of trade and logic, and suddenly Trollocs are running along the riverbank following his ship.
Ignoring all the other boats, it makes no sense from a military perspective. He looks at Rand and Matt and asks, "Why will they no leave me be?"
And that's the point.
Hunt is personal. It's targeted specifically at these youths. The Shadow will ignore every other objective to get to them.
Meanwhile, the other half of the kids, Perrin and Egwene, they take a much wilder path.
Deep into the wilderness, where they are found by Elias Machera,
Another mysterious stranger.
a very different kind of stranger. Rugged, raw-boned, has these incredible yellow eyes, and carries this wicked-looking half-moon axe. He is a man of the wild, completely separate from civilization, and, as they learn, much more than just a wanderer.
Right, because this is the moment Perrin's own story really begins to unfold. The revelation of the Wolf Brother.
A powerful, ancient, and almost forgotten gift. Something completely separate from the One Power.
How does Elias explain it? What is it?
He says his talking to wolves is an old thing, older than Aes Sedai. And when he meets the local wolf pack, they greet him like family, but then their focus shifts immediately to Perrin.
They sense it in him.
They sense it. Elias confirms it. Perrin shares this gift. The wolves are glad to find him. They say it's been a long time since they hunted with men.
So what does that mean, to be a wolf brother? Is it like telepathy?
It's a profound psychic kinship. He can share thoughts, feelings, intentions with them. He feels their emotions, their loyalty. They see him as a brother, a 2-legged hunter. It marks him as unique, connected to the wild in a way very few humans have ever been.
And Elias, who seems to understand these bigger forces, he gives them a pretty heavy warning.
He sees the big picture. He understands the pattern. He tells Perrin that the pattern is forming a great web around them, that they're central to it now.
He says something that just erases all sense of free will.
He says it flatly. I don't think there is much chance left in your lives now.
Their lives are no longer their own. They're dictated by fate.
Exactly. Every choice they make, no matter how small, is now part of this grand design.
And just to hammer that point home, even deep in the woods, they are immediately spotted.
The Dark One's surveillance is everywhere. Perrin looks up and sees this massive flock of ravens, 50, 100 black birds spiraling into the sky.
The Dark One's eyes.
And as if one thought sparked in 100 minds, the flock just breaks and heads south. It confirms that nowhere is safe. They are always being hunted.
Okay, so that third path of peril brings us to Moiraine and Lon, and the surprise arrival of, well, the fiercest woman of the two rivers, Nynaeve Elamera. And this is a huge character spotlight for her, starting with an absolutely astonishing feat. She tracked Lon.
Relentlessly. And this fundamentally changes how we see her. Lon is the best. He's a warder, trained his whole life to leave no sign. And yet, Nynaeve follows his impossible trail over a huge distance.
Lon himself is shocked. He mutters, "I must be getting old."
Which from Lon is the highest praise imaginable.
So how did she do it? It wasn't just following footprints, was it?
No, it was her connection to the world.
Yeah.
She says she knew where he had not been. She sensed the absence of a trail. It's pure instinct, fierce determination, and some kind of latent power she doesn't even understand yet.
And she shows up not as an ally, but as a fierce protector. She immediately confronts Moiraine, completely ignoring the fact that Moiraine is an Aes Sedai who could probably stop her with a thought.
Her only concern is Egwene. Where is she? Is she safe? She sees Moiraine as a kidnapper who has endangered her people. She has zero respect for Moiraine's authority.
But this confrontation is so important because it forces Moiraine to reveal the terrifying truth about Nynaeve and Egwene's abilities.
And the existential risk that comes with them. This is a critical piece of lore.
Moiraine reveals Nynaeve can channel, but only at random and with crude control.
Right. It only happens when she's intensely angry, and this is where we learn about the channeling sickness.
So wait, Moiraine isn't just trying to recruit them. This isn't just about adding numbers to the White Tower.
No, she's trying to save them from a fate that's arguably worse than being captured by the Shadar. The lore here is genuinely gruesome.
Tell us, what is the fatal danger Moiraine describes?
It's what happens to women who can channel, but try to learn to control it on their own, without guidance. For women, it leads to an inevitable, horrible death.
Describe it. This is a detail you need to remember.
Moiraine says it leads to convulsions, screaming. It takes days, and once it begins, there is nothing that can be done to stop it, not by all the Aes Sedai and Tar Valon together. It's an internal, magical overdose that just destroys the body from the inside.
A slow, agonizing, irreversible death.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so this completely reframes the Aes Sedai motive. They're not just recruiting. They're performing a desperate intervention.
They have to. They seek out these women to guide them and teach them control, because if they don't, the power itself will kill them.
And Nynaeve has to accept this.
She's forced to. She connects Moiraine's warning to her own past unexplained fevers and chills that happened when she was under extreme stress. She realizes Moiraine is telling the terrible truth about her own nature.
So she joins them, not as an ally, really, but out of a fatal necessity.
A reluctant acceptance. The goal is to find Egwene and save her from this fate. She will protect her own, even if it means working with the one person she despises most.
So let's bring it all together. The group is shattered. They're facing threats from the outside, Trollocs, Fades, and now these terrifying internal threats.
Mat's corruption and the ticking clock on Nynaeve and Egwene's uncontrolled power.
The danger is just compounded. Rand and Mat are on a boat, totally unaware of the spiritual bomb Mat is carrying.
A seed of pure hatred from Shadar Logoth. Meanwhile, Perrin and Egwene are deep in the woods with a wolf brother, but they're being stalked by the Dark One's spies.
And Moiraine, Lan, and Nynaeve are scrambling to pick up the pieces, but the clock is ticking loudest for Mat. Moiraine was clear about this.
The taint of that dagger becomes irreversible if it's not treated. That infection leads to a single psychotic focus, killing anyone you suspect of threatening the dagger. It's a race against time and psychological collapse.
The need is clear. They have to find Mat before he is completely consumed. So where is Moiraine trying to get them?
The paths will hopefully converge near the next town, Whitebridge. But the ultimate destination is Tar Valon, the White Tower.
which is the only place that might have a cure for Matt.
It's the only place Moiraine can guarantee safety from the shadow. And yes, it's the only place with the knowledge and power to potentially cure this unique, non-Dark One contamination.
But that's the ultimate gamble, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tar Valon offers the only cure for Matt, but it also represents the ultimate risk for Egwene and Nynaeve, who have to learn to control the power.
It's the only sanctuary in the world that also happens to be the source of the greatest danger for 3 of the 5 youths. And we can't forget about Tom Merrilin. His fate is unknown, leaving the boys completely on their own for the first time.
So the true battle they're fighting now isn't just against the shadow chasing them. It's against this ancient, human-made evil they are literally carrying inside them.
I think this whole section just highlights that shocking shift in scope. The danger isn't just the Dark One, it's something more insidious. It's these ancient, human-made evils like Shadar Logoth that can rot you from within.
The key takeaway for you here has to be the power of unchecked fear and suspicion. In this world, it's not just a character flaw, it is a literal, self-generating form of destruction. And Matt, carrying that dagger, feeling those seeds of hate bloom inside him, he is the living embodiment of that risk.
Which leaves you with a really chilling question to think about. Matt is now infected with Shadar Logoth's essence, hatred and suspicion. How can he ever trust Moiraine, the one person who might have a cure, when the very evil he carries is specifically designed to make him destroy the people closest to him? He's become his own greatest enemy before the real war has even started.
That is a terrifying thought. The fight for Matt's soul begins right now. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We will track them all as they converge on Whitebridge in our next exploration. Until then, stay well informed.